stuck the camera into the oranges. Happy Christmas! It's Christmas Eve. We've made it. I'm sure people are getting ready to celebrate. In Germany, Christmas Eve is actually a big day. It is the evening where the kids get the presents, for example. So it's always the most important one. Whereas Christmas Day and Boxing Day is more about kind of eating together and things like that. So yeah, Christmas Eve always feels like the one everyone's working towards. So it's probably the more festive one for us over here. I've just got myself some cookies that are still warm. I did make the dough last night, so I just had to pop it into the oven. And also iced coffee with the rest of my coffee from this morning. I did make the good Portuguese coffee, as in from a roastery in Algesur that I always go to, and I tend to take some coffee home with me. I do have the washing machine going as well, normalizing doing laundry on Christmas Eve. Speaking of coffee, I thought one thing that would be nice to include in the Vlogmas is a little book chat, because I've had my ups and downs with reading this year. But yeah, so I'm reading Before the Coffee Gets Cold, Toshikatsu Kawaguchi. I'm always a bit nervous about spelling. Elfie! Nein. Nein, immer noch nein. And it's actually really cute, and it's an easy read, but quite an interesting one. I won't go into the story, I think everyone can look it up, but basically it's about traveling back in time for a few of the characters, and whilst you are able to make amends in the past, you are not able to change the present, which makes it quite interesting. But definitely a good read. I even read in the evenings now when I go to bed quite late, and sometimes it'd be easier to just switch off the lights and go to sleep, but it's quite nice to wind down reading, and this is quite an easy one to go to before going to sleep. I actually got a few that I can talk about. So I'm also... Elfie, nein. Nein. Ich hab dich auf Kamera. Evidence. So this is the one I'm struggling with in a weird way, because it's really interesting. It's not that it's not a good read. Wild Swans, it is, from Yang Chang, I think you pronounce it. It's an incredible story of 3 generations of women in China, and it goes into the absurdity of communism in China. So it's an interesting read in terms of what happens, but it is not, there's no cliffhanger. And sometimes I need a cliffhanger, you know, to keep going. It's just literally historical facts told from the eyes of women in China, and stories are amazing. I mean, it's incredible what they've been through, but I do sometimes find it hard to keep going with it. So I am determined to keep picking it up and keep reading it, but I also decided to go back into like a nice short book that gets me back into reading and to switching off in the evening. So definitely gonna let you know how I get on. The one book, I don't have it here. I like to actually either leave books when I'm on holiday. I leave them with friends that read in English books, or I send books to friends that I think they might like. So the one that stuck the most this year was Pachinko. I loved that book. It was so good. And I also watched the series on Apple TV, which was really beautiful as well. I'm always a bit wary of watching sort of TV or movie reincarnations of books. But it was so beautifully shot, and I also thought the characters were really well chosen. So it's definitely one I would recommend, and it's also sort of a family story with very surprising and heartbreaking twists sometimes, but a really good read. And then I also read this, which I read mixed reviews about, but I kind of picked it up anyway. Yellow Face, it's called, and I would describe it as a good beach read or a good sort of on a plane. Take this book. It's actually what I did. I read it whilst traveling, and it's an easy read, and it's very it keeps you going, but it's not the most realistic. But it also gets a bit into the whole sort of crazy social media world we live in, and some of it is not too far-fetched, even though it's crazy the way they've kind of interpreted it. But I would say it's a hit or miss. You either like it or you hate it, I guess. But it did keep me gripped. And then another one that I bought, which is a different sort of genre, is 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think. It's another one I picked up at the train station, I think, because I was going on a trip to Berlin, I think, and the train was delayed, as you go sometimes, so I decided to pick this up, and it's quite good because you just tap in and out of it. It's like different essays, so you don't need to read it cover to cover, and it's quite nice to tap into. There's different topics on, how to measure a good life. It has good prompts in it. It's something that I think I will kind of keep going back to if I'm looking for inspiration or things like that. Another one I have read, but I haven't got it here, is Demon Copperfield, which I loved as well. I know some people find it hard to read because it's quite a big book as well. But I loved it. I loved that story, and would definitely recommend that one as well. And this is the pile that is waiting to be read. These two were actually birthday presents. So Stay Away from Gretchen was recommended to me by my best friend. She always gives me a book for my birthday, and they are usually very good ones that she's also read and recommends. I've got Brittany, amazing, also a birthday present. The Untethered Soul, is that how you say it? A Journey Beyond Yourself, which has been highly recommended by a lot of people. It's another one that is more of a sort of mindset kind of book that gives you a lot of cues on how to approach life, and it's meant to be quite good. Free Food for Millionaires, it's Min Yin Lee who wrote Pachinko, so I definitely want to read this one as well. That is, let's see if it focuses, that's the cover of Pachinko down there. Then I have Big Magic from Elizabeth Gilbert, super cheesy. She's the one that wrote Eat, Pray, Love. But I think this is a more sort of creative living beyond fear approach. So it's more of sort of, what to call this? It's not a self-help book, but it's more about like approaching creativity, approaching art, and so on. And I think it's also a quick read and a good one, especially with everything that I've got planned for next year. Lessons in Chemistry I bought because I know it's an Apple TV series as well, that it's meant to be quite good. I haven't watched the series yet. I'm going to read the book first. And then this is going to hurt, Adam Kay. I heard about this in a blog post. It's about the state of the NHS, kind of, yeah. Darius provides a no-holds-barred account of his time on the NHS front line. Hilarious, horrifying, and heartbreaking. This is everything you wanted to know. So I thought that could be a good one to tap into as well. So yeah, big one to get through. But yeah, this is what I will be up to at some point next year. And feel free to leave any recommendations in the comments below. I'm always up for good books. I do screenshot a lot of them. A lot of the vlogs I watch, especially from the London or the British girls, I always screenshot and take their recommendations. Like, for example, Brittany Bathgate, she is the one that got me into Pachinko, and also the Wild Swans, the one I'm struggling with. But I kind of know that the topics she's into is something I'm into as well. And then Lizzie Hatfield is another one that always has great book recommendations, and quite honest ones in terms of, is it one to put down or is it one to kind of keep going with. So yeah, that's the book chat, and just a few words on the rest of today. My plan today is I am cooking Portuguese tonight. I'm cooking feijoada, which is something I've always had during the winter times in Portugal over the last 3 years, and it's the best dish ever. I will film that tonight, and you can then watch it tomorrow. And earlier this week I went to the kind of Portuguese quarter in Cologne and found a small supermarket where I could get like one of the nice red wines that I also always drink when I'm in Portugal, and some other goodies like chorizo and things I need to cook. Unfortunately, they didn't have the Portuguese sweet potatoes, which are the best, so I'm going to use normal potatoes. But yeah, that's the plan for tonight. And then I think I might watch Notting Hill because there's a lot of Christmas movies on, but they're like from the silly pile, and I don't know if I'm into that. I did watch Dash and Lily, the series, over the last couple of days. It was quite cute. It was quite sort of Christmassy. Elfie's now settled on the windowsill, leaving the bookshelf alone, which is great. She's waiting for her feathery friends outside. I've put my granddad's old birdhouse outside, and we always feed the birds in the morning. Yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here because I still need time to edit it and cut it all together. I hope you have a lovely Christmas Eve, whatever that may look like where you are, and I shall see you tomorrow for the big day.